You have more time than you think, you just don't know it. As students, it's so easy to get overwhelmed with the amount of stuff on our plates. The assignments, the exams, the studying, everything piling up and becoming one big mess in our heads. The best students are superstars at time management because they don't follow traditional rules. Most of the stuff you see out there about managing your life just sucks. On one hand, you have Elon telling you to manage every single second of your day, and on the other, you have other people saying that time management is a waste. But they're both wrong because none of them are made for you, the student. So as a 3.89 student, I'm gonna show you the 5 stages of time management that I personally use to balance everything in my life. This system will take you 10 minutes and save you so much stress. Right now, you're probably a time novice, someone who's heard of time management, maybe even tried it, but can't seem to find a system that works for you. The first thing you have to do is understand how much time we actually have. I want you to look at your last week and see how much time you spent doing things. Factor in stuff like sleep, eating, class, and work. Here's my breakdown. Don't mind the echo, but when I did this exercise myself, I found out that I slept for 56 hours, I ate for 10 hours, I had class for 16, and I worked for 30. And if you like to work out, you can factor that in too. So for me, I'd add another 10 hours for exercise. So whatever your numbers are for you personally, I want you to add them all up. I think for me, they equal 122, and then I want you to subtract from 168 because the 168 is the total amount of hours in a week. So for me, I end up with 46 hours of free time. Great, now remember, we're only adding things in here that are essential to your everyday life. So if you're spending time scrolling on TikTok, we're gonna get to that in a little bit, but don't add that into this right here. These are just the lifestyle essentials that you need so we can get the bare bones for how much time you have. If you're starting fresh and have no clue where your time went last week, then just start this week and every night just take note of where you spent your time. When you found what your normal routine is, I want you to place those items in your calendar as their own event. That way we can optimize around having a routine for them rather than never knowing when they happen. 2 years ago, when I finally did this for myself, I found out that the majority of my day goes to playing video games. But in the moment, I never realized I was incorrectly using my time. You don't have to overcomplicate it. Without this step, you're gonna stay exactly where you are, so it's so important that you get it right. Now that you've mastered stage 5, you've now upgraded to stage 4, which is a time apprentice. After going through the first stage, you now have a decent understanding of where your time goes, and for some of you, it might make you disgusted to look at, seeing that 8-hour TikTok time. But this is good. I want you to feed into that emotion and let it drive you to become better after watching this video. Now that we know where your time is going, we can start to replace the useless activities with the ones that'll get you closer to your goal. And this isn't just a 5-minute thing. No, I want you to answer what is the most important thing to you right now. Now for the tactical stuff. Based on the goals that you set, I want you to look at your to-do list. If your goal is to get better grades, then based on that list, what are the highest leverage things you can do to make that a reality? So I have a list of to-dos here, and my goal is to do better in school. So what things on this list do you think will make it easier for me to achieve my goal? Is it beat the new Black Ops 6 level, or is it gonna be studying for this new stats exam coming up? Of course it's gonna be this one. But I wanna preface, I'm not saying that taking breaks isn't a good thing. Rather, I'm saying to make sure to get your work done beforehand. I know this is really straightforward, but let me give you a harder example. What if you had the choice between studying for this stats exam or writing this big essay? What then? Since they both get you closer to your goal, it's about seeing where you have the most leverage. So if I know I'm really good at writing essays, but I suck at stats, then for me, I might get the essay out of the way so I can just free up mental bandwidth to focus on stats. But it all comes down to how you work best. Just like anything, this is a skill and it takes time to learn and master, but understanding how to allocate your resource, meaning your time, is gonna be the highest leverage thing you can do to level up in college. Stage 3 is a special one because most people don't make it this far. They quit when it gets hard, but you, my friend, did not. So for that, I applaud you. Stage 3 is all about building your time around the goal that you set while you were in stage 4. So whatever your big goal is right now, we're gonna structure your time around making that a reality. This is where it's so important to theme your days. This is the bread and butter for how I balance everything in my life. As a student, you guys know that we don't get that much time to work on things outside of our studies. And it's not really smart to try to multitask. So by dedicating different days to different buckets of tasks, I've been able to reduce my stress and up my efficiency. Here's how you do it. Look at all the tasks that you have coming up for the week, and then break your tasks into different buckets of your life. When I did this, I had 3 buckets: school, personal, and business. Then I want you to go back to your calendar in weekly view and dedicate different days to different types of tasks. So for me, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays are blue days, which means they are school focused, while Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays are more business focused. Then on Sundays, I do all of my personal things like deep clean my apartment, grocery shop, and laundry. When I first heard of this, I was like, oh, this is overcomplicating things, but then I actually did it, and To my surprise, it really did change my life. Now, I do need to mention that sometimes there's gonna be overlap. So like, if you have an exam coming up and you need to use one of the other days to prioritize the exam, then that's just what you have to do. Now that you've themed your days, what happens next? How do you actually plan your calendar? I've been able to do this through time blocking. I take a look at what my to-dos are for the next day based on what types of tasks I'm gonna be focused on. I'll add them to my calendar and give them realistic timeframes. So for example, if tomorrow is a school-focused day, then I'll put my to-dos in my calendar, ranking them from highest priority to lowest priority. There's already some stuff pre-planned in there like class time, but I'll just work around that. I've been using this method for 4 years, but here are some things that I should note before you try it out yourself. Number one, you're likely never gonna follow your schedule to a T. So get in the habit of updating your calendar to reflect what your day actually looked like. Number two, people usually overestimate how much they can do in a day or underestimate how long something will take. When I first started doing this, I thought I could work for like 8 hours straight, and I was sadly mistaken. Number three, please schedule in breaks. I can't stress this enough. Do not, and I repeat, do not book out 16 hours worth of studying. It won't work out for you, I promise. Breaks are just as essential as the actual act of studying because it recovers you from what you just did. If anything, I recommend leaving at least 3 to 4 hours blank just in case something comes up, but if nothing does, then you can extend some work or do another task. Now that you're in stage 2, you've almost mastered time management. You've learned how to audit your time, prioritize tasks, plan your days, theme your weeks, and now you're gonna learn how to trim all of that fat. This really is personal preference, but the only thing I ask is that you're extremely honest with yourself. Be honest about what you value and be quick to remove what doesn't add value from your life. Go back to your stage 4 goal. Every task that you do should lead back to it. I want you to go one by one on your to-do list and ask yourself, does this get me closer to my goal? And if the answer is no, then stop doing it. Now, as you're looking at it, you might be on the fence about those couple of things. You're like, well, this kind of adds value to my life and it kind of doesn't at the same time, so what should I do? My rule of thumb is that if I'm on the fence, then it's probably a no. The common factor that I've seen between successful students is that they're just ruthless about what they say no to. And it's not because they're mean, it's because they're dead set on achieving their goals. 2 years ago, when I found out that I was spending half of my life playing Xbox, I got extremely anxious because I was like, what if I don't make it? What if all the things that I say I was gonna do, I don't end up doing them? Freeing up that time helped me get closer to my sister and learn skills that'll help me in the future. If you do this right, my promise to you is that in 6 months, you'll be unrecognizable. And all of your friends are gonna be asking you how you did it. Finally, you've reached stage 1. You are now a time superstar. This stage is all about how you can stay consistent. Being good at time management is simply a means to getting to where you wanna be in life. No matter what it is, you have to nail this skill first. And the biggest part about staying consistent is connecting with other people that have that same drive. On that note, I did just launch a free community for college students. I'm showing exactly how I study, how I take notes, and how I manage my life in more detail. But you don't just get that when you join. You get to build genuine relationships with future entrepreneurs, doctors, and lawyers. People who have that same mentality that you do. So if you're interested, click the link down below and I'll see you there. And did I mention it's free? I absolutely love this quote from Warren Buffett that says, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. If you clicked on this video, you're a top 1% student. And it's not because of your grades, it's not because of some extracurriculars that you do, it's because you have a willingness to learn. But that's only part of the success equation. The second part is building that bulletproof network. If you know that your 5 closest friends are working just as hard as you are, then you'll never fall off track. And that right there is the formula for achieving your wildest dreams.